I tell her about the way Raphael lives. The expensive dinners, the designer clothes, the weekend trips to places I can't pronounce. The way he and Bianca post photos online of their perfect life while behind the scenes they're drowning in debt and lies. And I tell her about the charity. The small fund I've been running quietly for 12 years, helping elderly people in our neighborhood with emergency rent and medical bills. How Raphael recently discovered it exists and has been hinting, not so subtly, that maybe I should simplify my finances and consolidate my assets before I get too old to manage things properly. Leanne takes notes without judgment. When I finish, she sits back and studies me like I'm a puzzle she's trying to solve. This is a lot of ammunition, she says carefully. What exactly do you want me to do with it? I want you to investigate. Not to destroy him. I'm his father, not his enemy. But I want someone outside our family to see what's happening and document it. Because right now, Raphael thinks he can perform kindness for the cameras while treating real people like props. And that only works if nobody's watching closely enough. She nods slowly. And you understand that if I investigate, I might find things you don't want to know? I already know everything I need to. I've been ignoring it for years because that's what you do when you love someone. You make excuses. You give them another chance. But there comes a point where making excuses for someone is the same as lying for them. Leanne picks up her recorder and hits pause. Can I ask you something off the record? Go ahead. Why now? If this has been building for years, what made you finally decide to act? I think about that envelope. The red underline. The way Raphael shrugged like it was nothing. Because I realized he stopped seeing me as a person. I became a problem to solve. And once you're just a problem in someone's eyes, they'll find any solution that makes their life easier, even if it destroys yours. She hits record again. I'll need documentation. Bank statements, loan papers, anything you have about the charity fund and the property sale. Can you get me that? Already brought it. I pull out a folder stuffed with papers. Copies of everything. She flips through it, her expression shifting from interested to concerned. Wow. This is more than I expected. I've been saving evidence for years without realizing it. Funny how that works. We talk for another hour. She asks detailed questions about dates and amounts and who said what to whom. I answer as honestly as I can, even when the answers make me look naive or foolish. Because this isn't about protecting my image. It's about protecting my dignity. When we finally finish, Leanne walks me to the door. This is going to take some time to investigate properly. A few weeks at least. Maybe longer. That's fine. I'm not in a hurry. Revenge that's worth anything needs time to cook. She almost smiles at that. You know, most people who come to me wanting to expose family members are angry. Screaming. Crying. You're the calmest person I've ever interviewed about this kind of betrayal. Anger is loud. But effective action is quiet. I leave her office and head straight to the pier. The real one this time, where my actual ship is waiting. It's smaller than Raphael's cruise liner, less flashy. But it's mine. I chose it. And it's taking me exactly where I want to go with a return ticket in my pocket. The cabin is tiny. One bed, one window, one chair. It's perfect. I unpack my small bag and sit on the edge of the bed, listening to the sounds of the ship preparing to leave. Footsteps above me. Voices calling instructions. The deep rumble of engines warming up. My phone buzzes. Raphael again. Dad. Just checking in. Are you having fun? Is the weather nice? I turn off my phone and set it face down on the nightstand. For the first time in maybe 30 years, I feel light. Not happy exactly. This whole situation is too messy for happiness. But light. Like I just set down a heavy box I'd been carrying so long I forgot it wasn't part of my body. The ship pulls away from the dock. I stand at my small window and watch the city shrink behind us. Somewhere in that tangle of buildings, Raphael is probably smiling. Thinking he solved his problem. Thinking the old man is gone and now life can go back to being easy and uncomplicated. He doesn't know I'm 3 blocks away on a different ship. He doesn't know about John's office and the changed will. He doesn't know about Leanne and her recorder and her sharp questions. He doesn't know that while he's celebrating getting rid of me, I'm building a case against everything he thought he could hide. The water stretches out dark and endless ahead of us. The sun is setting, painting everything gold and purple. It's beautiful. The kind of beautiful that makes you believe in fresh starts. Tomorrow I'll wake up and have breakfast in the ship's small dining room. I'll read my mother's letters and remember what it felt like to be loved by someone who never had ulterior motives. I'll spend a few days in this floating silence, gathering my strength for what comes next. Because when I get back to that city, when I walk back into my house and see Raphael's face expecting gratitude, I'm going to give him something very different. I'm going to give him consequences. Real ones. The kind you can't smile your way out of or perform your way around. And maybe, just maybe, those consequences will teach him something more valuable than any inheritance ever could. How to be an actual human being instead of a costume wearing one's skin. The ocean at dawn looks like melted silver. I'm standing on the deck with terrible coffee in a paper cup, watching the sun climb out of the water like it's being born right in front of me. There are maybe 10 other people out here this early, an elderly couple holding hands, a young woman in running gear doing stretches, a man my age staring at the horizon like he's searching for something he lost years ago. Nobody knows I'm not supposed to be here. Nobody knows my son thinks I'm on a completely different ship heading to a completely different future. The freedom of that secret sits warm in my chest. My phone is still off. Has been since we left port yesterday. I know Raphael is probably texting me, maybe even getting worried when I don't respond. Good. Let him worry. Let him feel just a fraction of the anxiety he tried to bury me under. I spend the morning in my cabin reading my mother's letters. She died when Raphael was 23, right before his college graduation. Liver cancer that moved fast and angry, eating through her in 6 months. But even at the end, even when the morphine made her words slippery and strange, she stayed sharp about people. I remember her last week. She was tiny in that hospital bed, all bones and papery skin, but her eyes were still bright. Raphael had visited once, stayed for 20 minutes, kept checking his phone, said he had to go because he had an exam to study for. After he left, my mother grabbed my hand with surprising strength. I hate that I did that, he says. I hate that my first instinct is still to be annoyed instead of patient. How do you do it? How do you listen to the same stories and never get frustrated? Because I remember that someday I'll be the old man telling the same story over and over, and I'll hope someone's kind enough to listen. He sits with that. Doesn't argue. Just nods and stares out the window. Bianca starts coming with us sometimes. At first, I think it's performative, her way of showing she's a good person by association. But then I see her with a young mother who's struggling to afford daycare while working 2 jobs, and Bianca does something I don't expect. She takes out her phone and makes actual calls, to her network, to people she knows, pulling strings to get this woman connected with resources Bianca has access to through her marketing firm. I can't believe I never thought to do this before, Bianca says later. I have all these contacts, all these connections, and I've been using them for client dinners and networking events. But I could have been helping people this whole time. Maybe she means it. Maybe it's still performance. Time will tell. One evening, Raphael brings home a stack of papers. Budget spreadsheets. Debt payment plans. Timelines for getting his finances under control. I met with a financial counselor, he says, spreading the papers on the kitchen table. Someone from the nonprofit downtown. They helped me map everything out. It's going to take 3 years to pay off my credit cards if I'm aggressive about it. Maybe 4 if unexpected things come up. That's good, I say, genuinely surprised. That's really good. I'm also going to stop buying stupid things I don't need. No more designer clothes. No more eating out 5 times a week. No more pretending I'm richer than I am. He looks at me directly. I've been living like I already inherited your estate. Like it was mine before you even died. That's messed up, Dad. That's really messed up. Yeah, I agree quietly. It is. How did you stand it? Watching me be that person and not saying anything? I think about the question carefully. Because I kept hoping you'd figure it out on your own. That if I just loved you enough, gave you enough chances, you'd eventually become someone who didn't need those chances. But that's not how it works. People don't change because you love them. They change because they decide to. I'm deciding to, he says. I know it's late. I know I should have decided years ago. But I'm deciding now. I want to believe him. God, I want to believe him so badly it aches in my chest. But belief is earned, not given. Show me, I say. Keep showing me. 2 months in, Raphael starts volunteering on his own. Not because I'm making him, but because he chooses to. He signs up to mentor a teenager whose father is in prison. He joins the weekend crew that delivers meals to homebound seniors. He starts a fundraiser at his work for the charity fund, talking openly with his colleagues about what he's learned. Bianca tells me one night, when Raphael is out picking up groceries, that she almost left him. When you confronted us with those documents, she says, I was so angry. I thought you were cruel and vindictive. I thought Raphael deserved better. She's sitting at my kitchen table drinking tea, and she looks smaller without her usual armor of confidence. But then I started really looking at who he was, who we were together, and I realized we were terrible. Just two people performing success while being empty inside. Are you still angry? I ask. No. Now I'm grateful. Because you could have just let us keep going like that. You could have let Raphael inherit everything and learn nothing. But you loved him enough to force him to change. That's real love. The hard kind. I don't know what to say to that, so I just nod and drink my tea. The breaking point comes on a cold October evening. We're at the community center helping set up for a fundraiser dinner. Raphael is carrying tables with Mr. Washington, laughing at something when his phone rings. He glances at it and his whole face changes. Goes pale. I have to take this, he says, stepping outside. Through the window, I watch him pace and gesture and run his hands through his hair. The conversation looks heated. When he comes back inside 10 minutes later, he looks like he's been punched. What happened? I ask. That was Marcus, the friend whose mortgage I co-signed. He's filing for bankruptcy, which means the bank is coming after me for the full amount. $60,000. My stomach drops. 60,000? I didn't realize it would be that much with penalties and interest. He sits down heavily on a folding chair. I'm screwed, Dad. Even with my payment plan, even doing everything right, I can't cover that. This is the moment. The moment when the old me would have said, don't worry, I'll help you. I'll figure it out. The moment when I'd bail him out one more time and teach him nothing. Instead, I sit down next to him and say, what are you going to do? He looks at me like I just spoke a foreign language. What am I going to? Dad, I can't handle this alone. I need help. You need to figure it out. Like an adult. Like someone who made a bad choice and has to live with the consequences. His face crumbles. But it'll ruin me. My credit will be destroyed. I'll lose everything. Not everything. You'll still have your job, your apartment, your health, your life. You'll just lose the illusion that you can keep making bad choices and someone will always catch you. He stands up so fast the chair skids backward. I can't believe you. I've been working my ass off for 2 months trying to be better, trying to prove myself, and the first time I really need you, you're just going to let me drown? I'm not letting you drown. I'm refusing to swim for you. There's a difference. We stare at each other across the community center. Everyone has stopped working to watch us. Mr. Washington looks worried. Bianca has her hand over her mouth. Raphael's eyes fill with tears. You really don't care if I lose everything? I care more about who you become than what you keep. And right now, you need to become someone who solves problems instead of expecting others to solve them for you. He turns and walks out. Just leaves. His car peels out of the parking lot loud enough that people outside probably think it's an emergency. Bianca looks at me. Should I go after him? No. Let him sit with it. Let him feel the weight of his choices without anyone rushing in to make it lighter. That night, Raphael doesn't come home. He doesn't answer texts or calls. Bianca stays in the guest room, worried, checking her phone every 10 minutes. I go to bed at my normal time and sleep like a stone. Not because I don't care, but because caring and enabling aren't the same thing, and I'm done confusing the two. I'm standing in my guest room folding towels when I see it, a white envelope sticking out from under Raphael's planner on the dresser. My hands are still damp from the laundry, and there's paint under my fingernails from fixing the back fence. The envelope shouldn't mean anything. Just paper. But something in my gut, that old instinct you get after raising a kid for 35 years, tells me to look. I pull it out. It's a cruise ticket printout. My name across the top in bold letters. Departure date, cabin number, all the usual stuff. Then I see it, underlined in red marker like someone wanted to make absolutely sure there was no confusion. One way. My chest goes cold. I read it again. Then again. One way. Not round trip. Not return flight to be arranged. Just one direction. Away. I hear Raphael laughing in the kitchen with Bianca. They're cooking dinner together, and the smell of garlic and wine drifts down the hallway. It's the kind of scene that should feel warm like family. But right now, with this paper shaking in my hands, it feels like a stage play. Like they're performing something for an audience that isn't even watching. Would you stay calm if you found out your own child was trying to get rid of you? Drop your answer in the comments because what I did next changed everything. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family, enjoy the story. I walk into that kitchen holding the paper like it's evidence at a crime scene. Raphael's got his back to me, stirring something on the stove. Bianca's setting the table with those fancy placemats she bought last month. The ones that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. They both look up when I clear my throat, and their smiles are so bright they could light up a stadium. Too bright. The kind of bright that people use when they're hiding something ugly underneath. This says one way, I tell them. My voice sounds like gravel scraping concrete. Why is it one way? Raphael doesn't even blink. He just shrugs like I asked him about the weather. They only had one-way specials, Dad. It's cheaper. We'll book you back when we can. You know how busy things are right now. Busy. That word sits in the air between us like smoke. Busy with what? Busy planning how to ship me off like unwanted furniture? Busy counting the days until the old man stops being a problem? But this doesn't make sense, I say, and I hate how my voice cracks just a little. Who books someone a one-way cruise? What am I supposed to? Bianca sets down her wine glass. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. We want you to see other places, Hector. Get some rest. Relax. The doctor said you needed a break, remember? This is what's best for you. Best for me. Those 4 words land like a punch. Because when people tell you what's best for you, while avoiding your eyes, they're really saying what's best for them. The house feels smaller suddenly. The walls seem closer. I look at my son, the boy I raised, the man I worked 3 jobs to put through college, the person I would have died for without thinking twice, and I see a stranger wearing his face. A stranger who just tried to erase me with a glossy brochure and a smile. There's this pause where nobody moves. The cat on the windowsill flicks his tail like he's waiting to see what happens next. The steam from the pot on the stove curls up toward the ceiling. Time stretches out long and thin. Then I do something that surprises all of us. I smile. Not a small smile. Not the polite kind you give when someone says something stupid and you don't want to embarrass them. This is a different smile. The kind that comes from somewhere deep and cold and absolutely certain. All right, I say quietly. If that's what you want. Raphael's whole body relaxes. Bianca picks up her wine glass again. They think they've won. They think the old man just rolled over and accepted his fate like a good little burden who knows when it's time to disappear. They have no idea what's about to hit them. I pack my bag that night in silence. I fold my clothes carefully, the blue shirt Raphael gave me for Father's Day 3 years ago, the pants I wore to his graduation, the jacket I bought with my first paycheck from the bakery. I pack my mother's letters, the ones that still smell like lavender even though she's been gone for 12 years. I pack a photo of Raphael at 6 years old with peanut butter smeared on his chin and pure joy on his face, back when he looked at me like I hung the moon. Raphael comes to say goodnight. He kisses my forehead like he's performing a role in a play about caring sons. Have a great time, Dad. You deserve this. I look up at him and keep that same smile on my face. Thank you, son. I'll make the most of it. He leaves. The door clicks shut. And the moment I'm alone, I pull out my phone and dial my lawyer's number. John? It's Hector Rojas. I need to see you first thing tomorrow morning. Bring every document you've ever prepared for me. The will, the property deeds, all of it. There's a pause on the other end. What's the emergency? I'll explain tomorrow. Just do it. I hang up and sit on the edge of my bed in the dark. My knee aches from climbing the attic ladder earlier. My hands are rough from 40 years of physical labor. I'm 63 years old and my son just tried to throw me away like garbage. But here's what Raphael doesn't understand about his old man. I didn't survive 3 decades of backbreaking work and single parenthood by being weak. I survived by being patient. By watching. By learning when to fight and when to wait for exactly the right moment to strike. And that moment? It just arrived wrapped in a one-way cruise ticket. The cab driver keeps looking at me in the rearview mirror like he's trying to figure out if I'm okay. I must look strange, an old man with a small suitcase at dawn, heading to the pier with a face carved from stone. He probably thinks I'm running away from something. He's half right. I'm running toward something instead. My phone buzzes. It's Raphael. Morning, Dad. Have an amazing trip. We love you. 3 exclamation points. That's how you know someone's lying. Real emotion doesn't need punctuation to prove it exists. I don't text back. I'm too busy thinking about all the years that led to this moment. All those mornings I woke up at 4 to start the ovens at the bakery so Raphael could sleep in a warm bed. All those nights I came home with paint in my hair from working overtime so he could have new shoes for school. All those times I said yes when my body screamed no because that's what fathers do. We break ourselves into smaller pieces so our kids can be whole. Raphael was 7 when his mother left. Just packed a bag one Tuesday and drove off to start a new life in Arizona with a man she met at her sister's wedding. No long goodbye, no custody battle. Just gone. And Raphael cried for 3 days straight until his voice went hoarse. I held him every single night and promised him that some people leave but I never would. That he could count on me. That I was the one person in this world who would always show up. I kept that promise for 28 years. Through his awkward middle school phase when he got in fights and came home with bloody noses. Through high school when he wanted to quit everything because nothing felt easy enough. Through college when he called me crying at midnight because organic chemistry was too hard and maybe he wasn't smart enough and maybe he should just drop out. I talked him through every crisis. I paid every bill that the scholarships didn't cover. I fixed his car when it broke down 3 states away during spring break. I flew to his graduation even though the plane ticket cost half my savings and I'm terrified of flying. I stood in that crowd of thousands and watched him walk across that stage, and my chest felt so full of pride I thought my ribs might crack. That's the man he decided to throw away yesterday. The man who gave him everything. The cab pulls up to the pier. I pay the driver and add a big tip because he didn't ask questions. Then I stand there watching the massive cruise ship in the distance. The one Raphael booked for me. The one I'm not getting on. A woman jogs past with a golden retriever. A couple argues near the ticket booth about luggage fees. Life keeps moving like nothing's changed. But everything has changed. Yesterday I was a father who accepted whatever scraps of love my son decided to throw my way. Today I'm something different. I walk away from the pier and head 3 blocks north to a small cafe where the coffee tastes like burnt rubber but the Wi-Fi is fast. I order an espresso and open my laptop. I spend the next hour researching cruise lines, reading reviews, comparing prices. Then I book myself a different ticket. Same destination, different ship, different company. And this one has a return date printed in bold letters at the top. My phone buzzes again. Bianca this time. Hector. Raphael told me you're boarding soon. So excited for you. This is exactly what you need. Take care of yourself. The way she uses exclamation points like weapons. The way she calls me by my first name like we're colleagues instead of family. The way every word feels like it was typed by someone's publicist instead of their heart. I close the message without responding. I've got 3 hours before my lawyer's office opens and a whole list of things to handle before I leave town on my terms instead of theirs. First stop, my barber. Angelo's been cutting my hair for 15 years. He knows me well enough not to chat when I come in with a certain look on my face. I sit in his chair and say, short. Like I'm starting over. He doesn't ask questions. Just cuts. When I look in the mirror afterward, I barely recognize myself. The man staring back looks younger somehow. Sharper. Like he just shed an old skin that didn't fit anymore. Second stop, Mrs. Alvarez next door. She's watering her plants when I knock, wearing her pink bathrobe and those fuzzy slippers shaped like rabbits. She's 78 and sharp as a tack, the kind of woman who notices everything and forgets nothing. Hector. Raphael said you're going on a cruise. That's right. I need a favor though. Can you keep an eye on my mailbox? Maybe water my plants if I'm gone longer than expected? Her eyes narrow just slightly. She's known me long enough to read between lines. Of course, Mijo. How long will you be gone? Not sure yet. I'll let you know. She touches my arm gently. Be careful out there. I don't know if she means on the ocean or in whatever storm I'm walking into. Maybe both. Third stop, John's office. My lawyer works out of a converted house near downtown with creaky floors and too many file cabinets. He's already waiting for me when I arrive at 8:30, 3 folders spread across his desk like he spent the morning preparing for surgery. You sounded serious on the phone, John says, pouring me coffee from a pot that's probably been sitting there since 6 a.m. What's going on? I tell him everything. The one-way ticket. Raphael's excuses. Bianca's fake sympathy. The slow realization that my son sees me as an obstacle instead of a father. John listens without interrupting, his pen scratching notes across a yellow legal pad. When I finish, he sits back in his chair and lets out a long breath. Jesus, Hector. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Help me fix it. Fix what exactly? Everything. The will. The beneficiaries. The property deeds. I want to make sure Raphael doesn't get a single thing he hasn't earned. I want to protect what I've built so it goes to people who actually need it instead of people who think they deserve it. John nods slowly. That's a big change. You sure you want to do this? I think about Raphael's face when he handed me that brochure. The way he smiled like he was doing me a favor. The way he couldn't even look me in the eye when I asked about the one-way ticket. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. We spend the next 3 hours going through documents. Changing beneficiaries. Creating irrevocable trusts. Moving assets into accounts Raphael can't touch. Setting up a charity fund for elderly people who need help with rent and heating bills. Making everything legal and airtight and permanent. When we finish, John walks me to the door. You know this is going to hurt him, right? When he finds out. Good, I say. Maybe pain will teach him something love couldn't. I leave the office with copies of everything tucked in my bag. My phone buzzes with another message from Raphael. Dad, the ship should be leaving soon. Hope you're enjoying the view. I look up at the sky instead of my phone. It's a perfect blue morning, the kind that makes you believe anything is possible. And you know what? Right now, I do believe it. Because I'm not the one being sent away anymore. I'm the one taking control of where I'm going and who gets to come with me. Raphael thinks he bought himself freedom with that cruise ticket. What he actually bought is the beginning of the most expensive lesson of his life. The journalist's office smells like old books and strong coffee. Leanne Chin sits across from me in a chair that's seen better decades, her recorder already spinning on the desk between us. She's younger than I expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes that miss nothing and a way of sitting perfectly still that makes you want to talk just to fill the silence. So, she says, not bothering with small talk. You said on the phone this was about family accountability. Tell me what that means. I pull out the cruise ticket and slide it across her desk. She picks it up, reads it, and her eyebrows rise just slightly. Your son bought you a one-way cruise? That's the polite version. The real version is my son tried to get rid of me by sticking me on a boat and hoping I'd be too grateful or too confused to ask questions. She sets down the ticket and leans forward. Why would he do that? This is the hard part. Admitting out loud that the person you raised turned into someone you don't recognize. But I came here for truth, not comfort, so I tell her everything. I tell her about the unpaid taxes on a property Raphael sold last year. How he pocketed the profit and left the tax bill for later, except later never came and now there are liens and penalties stacking up like dirty dishes. I tell her about the phone calls at 2 in the morning from men with rough voices asking when Raphael was going to pay what he owed. I tell her about the mortgage he co-signed for his friend Marcus, the same Marcus who defaulted within 6 months, leaving Raphael legally responsible for payments he swore in court he never agreed to. He's going to break your heart, Mijo, she whispered. I see how he looks at things. Like he's always calculating what they're worth to him. You watch. One day he's going to look at you the same way. I told her she was wrong. That the morphine was making her paranoid. That Raphael loved me and always would. She just patted my hand and closed her eyes. I hope you're right. But when I'm not here anymore, you remember I said this. And you remember that loving someone doesn't mean letting them use you. I fold the letter back carefully and put it with the others. My mother was right. She saw what I spent 15 more years refusing to see. That Raphael learned early how to perform love without actually feeling it. How to say the right words and make the right gestures while keeping his heart locked up somewhere private, only open for things that benefited him directly. Around noon the ship docks at a small island for a few hours. Most passengers rush off to explore, to take photos, to buy souvenirs they'll forget about in a month. I walk off slowly, no particular destination in mind. The island is beautiful in that postcard way. White sand, clear water, palm trees swaying like they're dancing to music only they can hear. I find a small beach bar run by a woman with gray dreadlocks and a laugh that sounds like bells. I order fish tacos and a beer, sit under a thatched umbrella, and let the world shrink down to just this moment. You look like a man with something heavy on his mind, the woman says, setting down my food. Is it that obvious? I've been serving tourists for 30 years. I can tell the difference between someone who's running toward something and someone running away from something. You're doing both. I smile despite myself. That's pretty accurate. Family? How do you know? Family is usually what makes people look that particular kind of tired. The kind that sleep can't fix. We talk for a while. I don't tell her everything, but I tell her enough. About the one-way ticket. About the slow realization that your child sees you as a burden. About the strange feeling of loving someone who stopped loving you back years ago but kept pretending because pretending was easier than honesty. She listens the way good bartenders do, with her whole attention, no judgment, no rush to fix things with cheap advice. You know what I think? She says finally. I think the hardest thing about being a parent is accepting that your kid might grow up to be someone you wouldn't choose to be friends with. That you can do everything right and they still might turn into someone who disappoints you. That's depressing. Maybe. But it's also freeing. Because once you accept that, you stop blaming yourself for their choices. You did your part. What they do with it after that, that's on them. I sit with those words for a long time after she walks away to help other customers. The sun is hot on my shoulders. The beer is cold and tastes like vacation. And for the first time since I found that envelope, I feel something like peace settling into my bones. I'm not responsible for who Raphael became. I'm only responsible for how I respond to who he is now. When I get back to the ship late afternoon, I finally turn on my phone. 17 messages from Raphael. 5 from Bianca. 3 missed calls. Dad, you okay? Dad, why aren't you answering? Getting worried here. Text me back? Dad, seriously, where are you? Hector, answer your phone. I text back one line, having a wonderful time. Service is spotty. Don't worry about me. Within seconds he responds, oh thank God. We were freaking out. Are you enjoying yourself? Weather good. Everything's perfect. I turn the phone back off and go to dinner in the ship's small dining room. The food is simple but good. Roasted chicken, vegetables, bread that's actually fresh. I eat slowly, savoring every bite, feeling like I'm tasting freedom with every meal that I chose, that I paid for, that no one else is controlling. That night I sit on my cabin's small balcony and watch the stars. They're brighter out here, away from city lights. The Big Dipper hangs low and clear. Orion stretches his bow across the southern sky. My father taught me constellations when I was 7, the two of us lying in our backyard on an old blanket, him pointing and naming while I tried to memorize patterns in the chaos. My father died when I was 19. Heart attack while fixing someone's roof. Just collapsed and never woke up. He was 43. I'm 63 now, 20 years older than he ever got to be. And I wonder what he would think about all this. About his grandson trying to throw away his own father like yesterday's newspaper. I think he'd be sad. But I also think he'd be proud that I'm not just accepting it. That I'm fighting back in my own quiet way. The ship rocks gently beneath me. The ocean whispers against the hull. Tomorrow we head back to port. Tomorrow I step back into the life Raphael tried to erase me from. Tomorrow the real work begins. But tonight, I just sit here under stars my father showed me 40 years ago and let myself feel something I haven't felt in a very long time. Powerful. Not because I'm strong or mean or vengeful. But because I finally decided that my dignity matters more than keeping the peace. That boundaries aren't cruel, they're necessary. That sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is refuse to let them treat you badly. Raphael is going to learn all of this soon. Whether he wants to or not. And honestly, I can't wait to see his face when he realizes his biggest mistake wasn't sending me away. It was assuming I'd stay gone. The cab from the pier smells like vanilla air freshener and old leather. The driver is humming along to some song on the radio, completely oblivious to the fact that he's driving a man toward a confrontation that's been building for 35 years. It's late afternoon. Golden light slants through the buildings, making everything look softer than it is. My neighborhood appears exactly the same as when I left 3 days ago. Mrs. Alvarez watering her plants, the Martinez kids playing basketball in their driveway, the stray cat that lives under the Hendersons' porch sunbathing on the sidewalk. Everything looks normal. But nothing is normal anymore. I pay the driver and stand on my front walk for a minute just looking at my house. It's small, needs paint, has a crack in the front window I keep meaning to fix. But it's mine. I earned every brick of it, every shingle, every squeaky floorboard. And nobody, not even my son, gets to take it from me. Raphael's car is in the driveway. He's home. Perfect. I unlock the door and walk in. The house smells like coffee and that expensive candle Bianca likes, the one that's supposed to smell like coastal morning, but really just smells like chemicals pretending to be ocean. I hear voices in the kitchen, Raphael and Bianca talking, something about dinner plans and whether they should order Thai or Italian. They sound relaxed, happy, like people who successfully solved a problem and are now enjoying their problem-free life. I set down my bag carefully and walk toward the kitchen. They don't hear me coming. I stand in the doorway for a moment just watching them. Raphael is leaning against the counter in his expensive jeans and his designer t-shirt that probably cost more than my entire outfit. Bianca is scrolling through her phone, showing him pictures of something, both of them laughing. How was it? I say. They both jump. Raphael nearly drops his coffee mug. Bianca's phone clatters onto the counter. Dad. Raphael's face goes through about 5 expressions in 2 seconds. Surprise, confusion, guilt, and then finally landing on that practice smile he's so good at. You're back. You're back early. We weren't expecting you until... Until when? I step into the kitchen. Until next week? Next month? Ever? His smile falters just slightly. No, I just meant, you said the cruise was 7 days, so... The cruise I actually took was 3 days. I pull out my phone and show him my ticket. See? Round trip. Return date right there. Clear as day. I watch him process this. Watch the realization dawn that I'm not where he thought I was. That I haven't been where he thought I was. That something is very wrong with his carefully constructed plan. I don't understand, he says slowly. I know you don't. That's the problem. I walk to the kitchen table and set down my messenger bag. Inside are all the documents from John's office, all the papers I've been carrying like ammunition. Sit down, Raphael. We need to talk. Dad, if this is about the ticket confusion. Sit down. Something in my voice must reach him because he actually does it. Bianca hovers near the counter like she's not sure if she should stay or go. I don't look at her. This is between me and my son. I pull out the first document, the updated will. I slide it across the table to him. What is this? He asks, not picking it up. Read it. He does. I watch his face change as he scans the pages. Watch the color drain from his cheeks. Watch his hands start to shake just slightly. You changed your will, he says flatly. That's right. You cut me out. Not entirely. But most of the estate now goes to a charitable trust. For elderly people who need help with rent and medical bills. People who actually need it instead of people who think they deserve it. Bianca makes a small sound. Raphael looks up at me, and for the first time since he was a teenager, I see something real in his face. Real hurt. Real panic. You can't do this, he whispers. I already did. I pull out more papers. The house is in an irrevocable trust. Same with my savings. The car. Everything I've built. It's all protected now. From creditors, from claims, and from sons who think inheritance is a right instead of a gift. Dad, his voice cracks. Dad, please, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You wanted me gone so you could get your hands on everything I've worked for. So you could pay off your debts and finance your lifestyle and never have to actually earn anything yourself. That's not what this was about. Then what was it about, Raphael? I lean forward. Explain to me why you bought your father a one-way ticket on a cruise and told him it was for rest. Explain to me why you thought that was okay. Why you thought I'd just accept it and float away into the sunset while you divided up my belongings like I was already dead. He's crying now. Actually crying. Tears running down his face, his breathing coming in sharp gasps. Part of me, the father part, the part that held him through nightmares when he was 5, wants to comfort him. Wants to say it's okay, we'll fix this, don't worry. But the rest of me, the part that's been slowly suffocating under years of being taken for granted, stays perfectly still. I'm sorry, he chokes out. Dad, I'm so sorry, I wasn't thinking clearly, I made a mistake. You made a choice. There's a difference. Bianca finally speaks up. Hector, this is extreme. You're angry, we understand that, but cutting Raphael out of your will? That's vindictive. I look at her for the first time since I walked in. You think protecting my assets is vindictive? You know what's vindictive? Trying to exile your elderly father-in-law because he's inconvenient. That's vindictive. What I'm doing is survival. Raphael wipes his face with his sleeve. What do you want from me? What do I have to do to fix this? You can't fix it. Not right now. The trusts are irrevocable. The will is signed and witnessed. It's done. So that's it. His voice rises, anger replacing tears. You're just going to punish me forever? For one mistake. One mistake. I pull out more papers, printouts from John's research. Let's talk about mistakes. The unpaid property taxes. The mortgage you co-signed and then denied in court. The men calling at 2 in the morning asking when you're going to pay what you owe. The way you've been living beyond your means for years while I quietly bailed you out over and over again without ever saying. Raphael's face goes white as I spread the papers across the table like evidence at a trial. Bank statements. Loan documents. Screenshots of text messages where he promised people money he didn't have. It's all there, every lie, every shortcut, every time he thought nobody was paying attention. How did you? He starts, but his voice dies in his throat. How did I get all this? I've been your father for 35 years, Raphael. You think I don't notice when something's wrong? You think I don't hear the phone calls you take in another room, the way your voice changes when bill collectors call? Bianca moves toward the table, her heels clicking on the tile floor. She picks up one of the documents, scans it, then sets it down like it burned her fingers. This is a violation of privacy. Privacy? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. You tried to ship me off on a one-way cruise and you want to talk about privacy? Raphael stands up suddenly, his chair scraping loud against the floor. You know what? Fine. You want to cut me off? Do it. I don't need your money. I don't need this house. Bianca and I are doing fine on our own. Are you? I pull out another paper. This one shows his credit card debt. $43,000 across 6 different cards. Because this says something different. He snatches the paper from my hand, crumples it, throws it across the room. You had no right to dig into my finances. I had every right. You're my son. When men with rough voices call my house at 2 in the morning asking where you are, that becomes my business. When you try to make me disappear so you can inherit everything faster, that becomes my business. The kitchen falls silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and Raphael's heavy breathing. He's standing there with his fists clenched, looking like he wants to hit something but knows he can't. Bianca has backed up against the counter, her arms crossed, her face carefully neutral. I never wanted you to disappear, Raphael says finally, quietly. I thought you'd be happier somewhere else. Somewhere peaceful. Away from all the stress. Stress I wouldn't have if you'd handle your own problems instead of creating new ones every month. He flinches like I slapped him. Good. Maybe pain is the only language that'll get through to him. I gather up the papers slowly, methodically, putting them back in my bag. Here's what's going to happen. The will stays as it is. The trusts stay locked. But I'm going to give you one chance, just one, to prove you're capable of being someone other than the person these documents show. What kind of chance? His voice is small now, defeated. You're going to meet the people your inheritance was going to help. The elderly folks in this neighborhood who can't afford their heating bills in winter. The woman down on Maple Street who's choosing between medication and groceries. The veteran who lost his apartment because his disability check was late. You're going to look them in the eye and understand what money actually means when you don't have any. That's not fair. Fair? The word comes out sharp as broken glass. You want to talk about fair? I worked 3 jobs to put you through college. I painted apartments until my knees gave out so you could have a car. I said yes to every request, every emergency, every crisis. And you thank me by trying to throw me away like garbage. So don't talk to me about fair. Bianca speaks up again, her voice tight. Hector, I think we all need to calm down and discuss this rationally. We're past rational. Rational was 3 days ago when I found that ticket. Rational was when I could have made a scene, could have called you out in front of your friends, could have posted everything on social media for the world to see. Instead, I chose quiet. I chose legal. I chose permanent. That's as rational as it gets. Raphael sinks back into his chair. He looks smaller suddenly, like someone let the air out of him. What if I can't do it? What if I meet these people and it doesn't change anything? Then you'll have proven exactly what I suspected. That you're so far gone into your own selfishness that even seeing real suffering won't move you. And I'll know I made the right choice protecting everything from you. He puts his head in his hands. His shoulders shake. I can't tell if he's crying or just trying to hold himself together. Part of me wants to reach across the table, touch his shoulder, tell him it'll be okay. But that's the old me talking. The me who always made excuses, who always gave one more chance, who enabled this behavior by never drawing a line. The new me stays seated and waits. Finally, Raphael looks up. His eyes are red but dry. When do I start? Tomorrow. 9 a.m. Mrs. Chin on Riverside needs help moving furniture because her son died last year and she can't lift anything heavier than a grocery bag. You're going to help her. No complaints, no shortcuts. Just show up and do the work. And if I do this, if I meet all these people and help them, will you change the will back? I shake my head slowly. I'm not promising anything except a chance to prove you're capable of thinking about someone other than yourself. What I do with my estate after that depends entirely on what you show me. He nods. It's not acceptance exactly, more like resignation. Like a man who just realized he's been playing a game he already lost. Bianca sets down her phone. We should go. Raphael needs time to process this. This is his house too, I remind her. I'm not kicking him out. But I am drawing boundaries. Clear ones. The kind that should have existed years ago. They gather their things in silence. Bianca's purse, Raphael's jacket, his keys. At the door, Raphael turns back to me one more time. I really am sorry, Dad. Even if you don't believe me. I believe you're sorry you got caught. Whether you're sorry for what you did. That's what we're about to find out. The door closes behind them. I hear their car start, hear them drive away. The house settles into silence around me. The good kind of silence, the kind that feels like relief instead of loneliness. I make myself dinner. Just eggs and toast, nothing fancy. I eat at the kitchen table where I just dismantled my son's expectations. The food tastes better than it should. Everything tastes better when you're not swallowing your own dignity along with it. Later, I call Mrs. Chen and tell her Raphael will be there tomorrow to help. She sounds surprised but grateful. I don't tell her why he's really coming. That's between me and my son. That night, I sleep better than I have in months. No nightmares about one-way tickets or floating away from everything I know. Just deep, dreamless black that feels like peace. Tomorrow the real work begins. Tomorrow I find out if my son has any chance of becoming someone worth forgiving. And if he doesn't, well, at least I'll know I tried. At least I'll know I didn't just roll over and accept being erased. At least I'll know I fought back. Mrs. Chen's apartment smells like ginger and old newspapers. She's 79, barely 5 feet tall, with hands that shake when she pours tea. I showed up with Raphael at 9 like I promised, and the look on her face when she opened the door, like Christmas came early, that look is what I needed my son to see. Mr. Rojas. And this must be your boy. She ushers us in with the kind of energy that doesn't match her frail body. I can't believe you're both here. This is too much. You're too kind. Raphael shifts uncomfortably in the doorway. He's wearing old jeans and a t-shirt, looking like a man being led to his execution. He hasn't said more than 5 words since I picked him up this morning. Mrs. Chen shows us the furniture. A heavy oak dresser that belonged to her late husband, a bookshelf full of photo albums, boxes of her son's belongings she's been unable to sort through. I need to move everything to the spare room, she explains. The landlord is finally fixing the mold problem in the bedroom, but I can't lift any of this myself. We get to work. Raphael takes one end of the dresser, I take the other. It's heavier than it looks, solid wood from an era when furniture was built to outlast the people who owned it. We maneuver it through the narrow hallway, scraping just slightly against the door frame despite our best efforts. Careful. Mrs. Chen calls out. That was David's, my husband's. He built it himself before we got married. Raphael's jaw tightens but he doesn't complain. We set the dresser down in the spare room and go back for more. The bookshelf. The boxes. A nightstand. A chair that's seen better decades. Each trip I watch Raphael's face, looking for something. Any sign that this is reaching him. After an hour, Mrs. Chen insists we take a break. She brings out tea and cookies that are probably stale but she serves them like they're precious. We sit at her small kitchen table and she talks. About her husband who died 5 years ago. About her son who died last year, cancer, fast and cruel. About how she can't afford to move somewhere better but this apartment is all she has left with memories of them. The charity fund Mr. Rojas helped set up, she says, smiling at me, that paid my heating bill last winter when I thought I'd have to choose between warmth and food. I don't know what I would have done without it. Raphael looks at me. Really looks at me, maybe for the first time all morning. I see the question in his eyes. How much have you been doing that I never knew about? The answer is, a lot. But I don't say it out loud. I let him sit with the realization. We finish moving her furniture by noon. Mrs. Chen tries to pay us. Actually pulls out a $20 bill from her purse with hands that shake so badly she almost drops it. I close her hands around the money and push it back gently. You keep that. Buy yourself something nice. But I should pay you for your time. Your gratitude is payment enough. She hugs me at the door, this tiny woman who barely reaches my chest, and she holds on tight like I'm family. You're a good man, Hector Rojas. Your son is lucky to have you. Raphael is quiet in the car. I drive to our next stop. The veteran on Morrison Street who needs help fixing his leaking roof. Manuel, 62, missing his left leg below the knee from an IED in Afghanistan, living on disability that barely covers rent. We spend the afternoon on that roof in the hot sun, patching holes, replacing shingles. Manuel brings us water and tells us stories about his unit, about the friends he lost, about coming home to a country that thanked him for his service but didn't help him find work or housing. The scholarship fund for veterans' kids, Manuel says, the one that helped my daughter get through community college, that changed our lives. She's a nurse now, making real money, helping people. None of that happens without that scholarship. Raphael is sweating through his shirt. His hands are blistered from the hammer. But he keeps working, keeps listening. And I see something start to shift in his face, a crack in the armor he's been wearing. By the time we finish, it's late afternoon. Raphael's exhausted, dirty, his expensive haircut ruined by sweat and dust. We drive home in silence that feels different than this morning's silence. Less hostile. More thoughtful. At dinner, take out pizza because neither of us has energy to cook. Raphael finally speaks. How long have you been running that charity? 12 years. Since Mom died. She left me a small life insurance policy and I didn't need it, so I started the fund. It's grown since then. How much have you given away? I think about lying, about minimizing it. But that's the old me. About 80,000 over the years. Small amounts to a lot of people. Heating bills, rent deposits, medical expenses, scholarships. Whatever seemed most urgent. He sets down his pizza slice. That's almost everything you had saved. It's not almost everything. It's exactly what I chose to do with it. Money sitting in a bank account doesn't help anyone. Money that keeps Mrs. Chen warm in winter or puts Manuel's daughter through school, that's money doing its job. And you never told me. Would it have mattered if I did? Would you have wanted to help? Or would you have told me I was wasting resources I should save for family? I use air quotes around the word family and he winces. Probably the second one, he admits quietly. That's why I didn't tell you. Because I knew you'd see it as money being taken away from you instead of money being given to people who actually need it. We eat in silence for a while. The pizza is mediocre but we're too hungry to care. Tomorrow, I say, we're helping Miss Patterson sort through her late sister's belongings. She's been putting it off for 6 months because it's too painful to do alone. Okay. Just okay. No argument. No complaint. It's a small thing but it's something. That night I hear Raphael talking on the phone to Bianca. My bedroom is right above the living room and the old house carries sound. I don't mean to eavesdrop but I hear enough. It's not what I thought, he's saying. He's been helping all these people for years. Real people with real problems. And I never paid attention. I was so focused on what I thought I deserved that I couldn't see what he was actually doing. There's a pause while Bianca responds. I don't know, Raphael says. I don't know if I can change enough. But I think I want to try. Not to get the inheritance back. Just to be better than this. I go to bed with those words in my ears. I don't know if I believe them yet. Words are cheap. It's actions that cost something. But it's a start. And sometimes a start is all you need to make room for something different to grow. The next morning, Raphael is up before me. I find him in the kitchen making coffee, actual coffee, not his usual expensive espresso drink. He's wearing the same old clothes from yesterday, and he looks tired but determined. Ready? He asks. Ready, I say. We spend the week like that. Different people, different problems, different ways my small charity fund has helped patch the holes in their lives. Each day I watch Raphael a little more closely. Looking for performance, for the act he's so good at putting on. But slowly I start to see something real underneath. The way he sits with Miss Patterson while she cries over her sister's wedding dress. The way he laughs at Mr. Washington's terrible jokes while helping him organize his garage. The way he asks questions, real questions, not polite ones, about people's lives and actually listens to the answers. On Friday evening, we're driving home from helping a young single mother move into a better apartment, and Raphael says something that stops me cold. I get it now. Why you did what you did with the will. I would have wasted it. All of it. On stupid things that don't matter. And these people, they would have lost their safety net because I'm too selfish to see past my own nose. I don't respond right away. I'm testing the words, seeing if they sound rehearsed or genuine. They sound genuine. What happens now? He asks. With us, I mean. Now, I say carefully, you keep showing up. Not for me. Not to get something back. But because it's the right thing to do. And we see if this version of you, the one who shows up, is the real you or just another performance. He nods slowly. That's fair. We pull into the driveway. Bianca's car is there, which is unusual. She's been scarce this week, probably angry about the whole situation. But when we walk in, she's in the kitchen cooking something that actually smells good. I thought we could have dinner together, she says, not quite meeting my eyes. As a family. The word family hangs in the air like a question. Are we still that? Can we be? I don't have an answer yet. But I'm willing to sit at the table and find out. 3 weeks pass like water finding new paths around rocks. Raphael shows up every morning ready to work. Some days it's physical labor, painting a community center, fixing a widow's fence, hauling donated furniture to families who need it. Other days it's harder work, sitting with lonely elderly people who just need someone to talk to, helping immigrants fill out confusing paperwork, teaching a teenager how to change a tire because his father isn't around to show him. I watch him change in small ways. The way he stops checking his phone every 5 minutes. The way he learns people's names and remembers details about their lives. The way he comes home exhausted but somehow lighter, like he's been carrying invisible weight for years and finally found somewhere to set it down. But it's not all smooth. There are still moments when the old Raphael surfaces. Impatient, entitled, frustrated when things don't move fast enough. One afternoon he snaps at an elderly man who's telling the same story for the 3rd time, and I see everyone in the room freeze. I'm sorry, Raphael says immediately, his face going red. Mr. Thompson, I'm sorry. That was rude. Please tell me about your granddaughter again. I want to hear it. The old man just nods, confused but willing to forgive. But afterward, in the car, Raphael punches the dashboard hard enough to make me flinch. 3 days later, Raphael shows up at 7 in the morning. He looks like he hasn't slept. His eyes are red and his clothes are wrinkled, and he's carrying a folder full of papers. "I talked to 3 bankruptcy lawyers," he says, setting the folder on the table. "I sold my car and bought a cheaper one. I put my expensive furniture up for sale. I called Marcus and told him exactly what I think of him. And I made a plan. I opened the folder. Payment schedules. Asset liquidation. A Chapter 13 bankruptcy filing that will hurt his credit but won't destroy his life. This is good work," I say quietly. "It's not enough, but it's what I can do. I'm going to take responsibility for my mess even if it takes years to clean up." He sits down across from me. "And I'm not asking you to bail me out. I'm just telling you what I'm doing so you know I'm trying." Something in my chest loosens. Some knot I didn't even know I was holding. "I'm proud of you," I say, and I mean it. He breaks down then. Just completely breaks down, sobbing with his head in his hands like he's releasing years of pressure all at once. I get up and put my hand on his shoulder and we stay like that, father and son, broken and healing, in the early morning light of my small kitchen, until the crying stops and what's left is just quiet. Just possibility. Just the chance that maybe we can build something real from all these ruins. Spring comes early, turning everything green and soft. It's been 6 months since the one-way ticket, 6 months since I dismantled Raphael's expectations and rebuilt them from the ground. I'm sitting on my front porch with coffee, watching Mrs. Alvarez water her plants, when Raphael's car pulls up. He's been living in his own apartment downtown since February, a small place he can actually afford, no luxury pretenses. Bianca stayed with him. They're different now. Quieter. More real. "Hey, Dad." Raphael sits down on the porch step. He's wearing work clothes, the kind you actually work in, not the designer version. "Got something for you." He hands me an envelope. For a second, my stomach drops. Some trauma response from last time, from that red underlined one way. But this envelope is different. Hand-addressed, my name in Raphael's messy handwriting. "What is this?" Open it. Inside is a letter. Handwritten on regular notebook paper, the kind that costs $1 for 100 sheets. The handwriting is shaky, like it was written early in the morning or late at night when hands don't work quite right. I read it slowly. "Dad, I don't know how to say this in person without my voice shaking, so I'm writing it down. I've been trying to write this for 3 weeks and keep throwing it away because nothing sounds right. But I think that's the point. There aren't right words for this. Just true ones. I was wrong. Not just about the cruise. About everything. About who I thought I deserved to be. About what I thought mattered. About how I treated you, like you were a resource instead of a person, like your love was something I owned instead of something you gave me. I spent my whole adult life measuring people by what they could do for me. Their value was their usefulness. And when you stopped being useful, when you became someone who needed care instead of giving it, I decided you were the problem. That's evil. I don't know how else to describe it. It's evil to look at the person who sacrificed everything for you and decide they're inconvenient. These last 6 months have been the hardest of my life. Harder than anything I went through in college or with my career. Because I've had to look at who I actually am instead of who I pretend to be. And what I saw made me sick. But I'm trying, Dad. I'm really trying. Not to get back in your will. I know that ship has sailed and I accept it. I'm trying because I finally understand that who you are when nobody's watching is the only version of you that matters. And I want to be someone worth watching. I met an old man last week at the community center. His name is Henry. He's 92 and his kids never visit. He told me he hasn't heard from his son in 7 years. And all I could think was, that could have been us. If you hadn't forced me to change, I would have been the son who disappeared. Who sent you away and never looked back. Who let you die alone wondering what you did wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. I did. All of it. And I'm sorry. I know sorry doesn't fix it. I know it doesn't undo the hurt. But it's true and I need you to hear it. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for loving me enough to draw boundaries. Thank you for showing me what real generosity looks like. I'm going to keep showing up. Not for inheritance or approval. Just because it's right. Your son, Raphael. I read it twice. Then a third time. My eyes are blurry and I realize I'm crying. The quiet kind, the kind that just leaks out without permission. Raphael is watching me nervously. Say something. My voice cracks. This is good. This is really good. Do you believe me? I think about that. Really think about it. I believe you mean it right now. Whether you mean it next year or 5 years from now, that's still being written. But yeah, right now, I believe you. He nods. That's fair. We sit there in silence for a while. Mrs. Alvarez waves from her garden and we wave back. A kid rides by on a bike, bell ringing. The world keeps turning, full of ordinary moments that feel extraordinary when you're sitting in the aftermath of almost losing everything. I changed the will, I say suddenly. Raphael's head snaps toward me. What? Last week. I changed it. You're back in as a beneficiary. Not for everything, the charity fund stays protected. But you get the house and half of whatever's left after I'm gone. His mouth opens and closes. Dad, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Because you've shown me something these last 6 months. You've shown me that people can change if they choose to. And you chose to. That matters. I don't deserve it. Maybe not yet. But you're working toward deserving it. That's enough. He wipes his face with his sleeve. I'm not going to screw this up again. I promise. Promises are easy, Raphael. It's the follow-through that counts. But I believe you'll try. And that's all any of us can do. Just try to be better tomorrow than we were today. We talk for another hour. About his bankruptcy process, about his relationship with Bianca, about the teenager he's been mentoring who just got accepted to community college. About ordinary things that feel important because we're actually sharing them honestly instead of performing them for an audience. When Raphael leaves, he hugs me at the door. A real hug, not the performance kind. Love you, Dad. Love you too, son. I watch his car drive away and think about how close I came to losing him entirely. How that one-way ticket could have been the end of our relationship instead of the beginning of something real. Inside, I make lunch and eat it slowly, tasting every bite. I've learned to savor things lately, food, quiet, moments of peace. Because I know now how quickly everything can change. How one decision can split your life into before and after. That afternoon, I volunteer at the community center. Help set up chairs for tonight's meeting. Talk with Henry, the 92-year-old Raphael wrote about in his letter. Henry tells me about his son who left 7 years ago, and his voice breaks when he says, I don't even know if he thinks about me anymore. I bet he does, I say, even though I don't know if it's true. I bet he thinks about you all the time and just doesn't know how to bridge the gap. You think? I know. Because fathers and sons, we're complicated. We hurt each other in ways we don't mean to. But that doesn't erase the love. It just makes it harder to access sometimes. Henry nods like he wants to believe me. Later, driving home, I think about all the fathers and sons in the world who are stuck in that space between love and damage. Who want to repair things but don't know how. Who keep hurting each other because nobody taught them a better way. I'm lucky. Raphael and I found our way back. Not all the way, there's still work to do, still wounds to heal. But we're on the path. We're trying. And sometimes trying is the bravest thing you can do. 2 years later, I'm standing in my kitchen on a Tuesday evening watching Raphael teach a young man how to budget. The young man's name is Carlos, he's 19 and he just got his first real paycheck. Raphael is showing him how to split it, rent, food, savings, fun money, using a notebook and a calculator that's older than Carlos. The key is paying yourself first, Raphael says. That's what my dad taught me. Well, retaught me. I had to learn it the hard way. Carlos nods, writing everything down. He looks at Raphael like Raphael is some kind of wizard who just revealed the secrets of the universe. And maybe, in a way, he did. Because knowing how to handle money is magic when you grew up without it. Bianca is in the living room talking with Carlos's mother about job opportunities in her company. They're planning, connecting, building something that looks like a future. This is what redemption looks like. Not a single dramatic moment where everything gets fixed. Just small actions repeated until they become who you are. After Carlos and his mother leave, Raphael helps me clean up. We work in comfortable silence. Him washing dishes, me drying. 2 years ago this scene would have been impossible. 2 years ago my son saw me as an obstacle. Now we're just two men sharing space and making it better by being in it together. I got offered a promotion, Raphael says, scrubbing a plate. Regional manager. More money, more responsibility. That's great. You going to take it? I think so. But I wanted to run something by you first. He sets down the plate and turns to face me. Part of the job is traveling. I'd be gone maybe 1 week a month. And I was thinking, if that happens, maybe you could come stay with Bianca sometimes? So you're not alone. Or I could hire someone to check on you. I smile because I can't help it. Raphael, I'm 65, not 90. I can handle a week alone. I know. I don't want you to think I'm abandoning you again. Even for work. This is the thing I've learned about healing. It's not linear. Raphael still carries guilt for that one-way ticket like a scar that aches in certain weather. And maybe that's good. Maybe we should carry our mistakes just enough to remember not to repeat them. Take the promotion, I tell him. You've earned it. And I promise if I need help, I'll ask. He nods, relieved. Thanks, Dad. We finish the dishes. Raphael makes coffee, the good kind now, not the expensive kind, just good honest coffee that tastes like someone cared about making it. We sit at the kitchen table, the same table where 2 years ago I laid out documents that changed everything. Can I tell you something? Raphael asks. Something I've never said out loud? Of course. When I bought that one-way ticket, there was this moment, just a split second, where I knew it was wrong. I knew what I was really doing. And I did it anyway. I convinced myself it was for your own good, but I knew. Deep down, I knew I was being cruel. He's staring into his coffee cup like the answer to something is floating in there. And the scariest part? It was so easy. It was so easy to choose convenience over conscience. To choose my comfort over your dignity. And if you hadn't caught me, if you hadn't fought back, I would have kept making choices like that. Kept being that person. Until one day I'd wake up and realize I'd become someone I didn't recognize. But you didn't become that person, I say. You chose differently. Because you made me. Because you loved me enough to force the choice. No. I reach across the table and tap his chest. I created the circumstances. You made the choice. Don't take that away from yourself. You did the hard work. We sit with that for a while. Outside, the neighborhood settles into evening. Mrs. Alvarez turns on her porch light. The Martinez kids finish their basketball game. A dog barks somewhere, friendly and familiar. You know what I think about sometimes? I say. I think about that boat. The one you actually booked me on. I wonder what would have happened if I'd gotten on it. If I'd just accepted the one-way ticket and sailed off into whatever ending you'd imagined for me. Don't. Raphael's voice is tight. I can't think about that. I can't. Because it helps me understand the choice I made. I could have been bitter. Could have just disappeared to spite you or made a scene or destroyed our relationship. Completely. But instead I chose to fight for it. To fight for you. Even when you didn't deserve it. I definitely didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves grace, Raphael. That's what makes it grace. We get it anyway and then we decide what to do with it. His eyes are wet but he's not crying. Just holding emotion close, feeling its weight. What did you do with it? The grace people gave you? I tried to pass it forward. To Mrs. Chen and Manuel and all those people we helped. That's all grace is supposed to do, move through you to someone else who needs it. Bianca comes into the kitchen, sees us having a moment and almost backs out. But Raphael waves her in. Stay. Dad's getting philosophical. She sits down and I pour her coffee. She's different now too. Less polished, more present. She volunteers 3 days a week at the women's shelter, using her marketing skills to help women rebuild their lives after leaving bad situations. She told me once that helping others helped her see how empty she'd been inside, how much of her life was performance. I was thinking, Bianca says, we should expand the charity fund. Raphael and I have been saving and we want to contribute. Not just donate, actively contribute. Help run it, find new people who need help, make it bigger. You sure? I ask. That's a lot of work. We're sure, Raphael says. We want this to be our legacy too, not just yours. Legacy. That word used to mean inheritance, bank accounts, property deeds. Now it means something different. It means the shape you leave in the world after you're gone. The lives you touched. The people you helped become better versions of themselves. Okay, I say. Let's do it. Together. We spend the next hour making plans. Not just for the charity but for everything. Thanksgiving is coming. We're hosting at my house, inviting people who don't have family to go to. Mrs. Chin, Manuel, Henry, Carlos and his mother. Everyone who's part of this strange extended family we've built from broken pieces. When Raphael and Bianca finally leave around 10, Raphael hugs me at the door. See you Friday for volunteer day? Wouldn't miss it. I watch them drive away, then I lock up and walk through my small house. This place has seen everything. My worst moments and my best ones, my son's betrayal and his redemption, the death of old patterns and the birth of new ones. I stop in the guest room where I found that envelope 2 years ago. The room is different now. We repainted it last summer, made it brighter. Raphael's old desk is in the corner. He uses it when he comes over to work on charity fund paperwork. The space that used to hold evidence of abandonment now holds evidence of repair. In my bedroom, I pull out the box I keep in my closet. Inside are my mother's letters, that photograph of young Raphael with peanut butter on his chin, and something new, Raphael's letter from last year. The one where he finally said what needed to be said. I read it again sometimes. Not because I need convincing anymore, but because it reminds me why boundaries matter. Why fighting for dignity is worth the pain. Why love sometimes has to be tough before it can be tender. My phone buzzes. A text from Raphael. Thanks for tonight. Love you. I text back. Love you too. Proud of you. And I mean it. Not proud of who he was, but proud of who he's becoming. Proud that he looked at his worst self and decided to build something better. That takes courage most people never find. I get ready for bed. Brush my teeth, take my blood pressure medication, set my alarm for tomorrow. Ordinary actions that feel like blessings when you remember how close you came to losing them. In the dark, I think about that one-way ticket one more time. How it was supposed to be an ending but became a beginning. How the worst thing my son ever did to me turned into the best thing that could have happened to us both. Because it forced the truth into the light. It forced us to stop performing and start being real. It forced Raphael to see what he was becoming and me to remember what I was worth. The lesson, if there's a lesson in all this mess, is simple. Love without boundaries isn't love. It's enabling. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to let someone treat you badly, even when that someone is your own child. Forgiveness matters. God doesn't matter. But forgiveness without accountability is just permission for repeat betrayal. Real forgiveness happens when someone proves they've changed, not just when they say they're sorry. And legacy? Legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what you build while you're here. It's not money in a bank account. It's warmth in someone's home during winter. It's a scholarship that changes a life. It's a son who finally learned to see people as people instead of resources. I close my eyes and feel peace settle over me like a blanket. Not perfect peace. There are still hard days, still moments when old wounds ache. But peace earned through struggle. Peace built on truth instead of illusion. Tomorrow I'll wake up and volunteer at the community center. I'll have coffee with Mrs. Alvarez. I'll probably get a text from Raphael about something small and ordinary. I'll live my life surrounded by people I chose to love and who chose to love me back. Not because they had to, but because we built something real together. That one-way ticket tried to send me into an ending. Instead, it delivered me to a beginning. And now, 2 years later, I'm living in a story I never could have written if I hadn't been brave enough to demand better. For myself. For my son. For everyone whose life got tangled up with ours. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to disappear when someone tries to erase you. Sometimes fighting back doesn't mean violence or vengeance. Sometimes it just means standing your ground and saying, I matter. My dignity matters. And if you want to be in my life, you'll have to prove you understand that. Raphael proved it. Slowly, painfully, imperfectly. But he proved it. And that's the real inheritance. Not money or property, but the knowledge that people can change. That redemption is possible. That love can survive betrayal if both people are willing to do the hard work of rebuilding. I fall asleep thinking about that kitchen table. About Raphael sitting across from me 2 years ago with terror in his eyes, and Raphael sitting across from me tonight with peace in his heart. About the distance between those two moments and everything it took to cross it. About how sometimes the longest journey is the one from who you were to who you're trying to become. And how sometimes, if you're very lucky, someone loves you enough to make you take that journey even when you don't want to. That's what fathers do. We love our children through their worst selves, hoping they'll find their way to their best ones. And when they finally do, when they finally become someone worth the love we've been giving them all along, that's when we know every hard choice was worth it. Every boundary drawn. Every consequence enforced. Every night spent wondering if we did the right thing. Worth it. All of it. Every painful, beautiful moment. So that's my story. The story of a one-way ticket that was supposed to be an ending but became the beginning of something real. The story of a father who refused to disappear and a son who learned to see. The story of redemption earned through action, not promised through words. If you were in my shoes, would you have fought back? Would you have drawn those boundaries? Would you have been brave enough to risk losing your child to save them from themselves? Those are the questions that matter. Not whether revenge is sweet. It's not. But whether love is strong enough to demand better. Whether dignity is worth defending. Whether family is built on obligation or choice. I learned the answers to those questions the hard way. I hope you never have to learn them like I did. But if you do, I hope you remember this. You are not required to accept mistreatment just because it comes from someone you love. You are allowed to draw lines. You are allowed to protect yourself. You are allowed to demand that love look like love, not like erasure. And if you're the one who needs to change, if you're the Raphael in someone else's story, I hope you're brave enough to look in the mirror and do the work. Before it's too late. Before the people who love you run out of chances to give. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for sticking with me through every painful moment and small victory. I hope it helps someone out there find the courage to choose dignity, to choose boundaries, to choose themselves. And I hope wherever you are, whatever situation you're facing, you remember that you matter. Your dignity matters. And you deserve to be treated like you matter, by everyone, including the people you love most. Take care of yourselves out there. Protect your dignity. Love the people who deserve it. And never let anyone convince you that accepting mistreatment is the price of keeping peace. Peace built on silence isn't peace. It's just delayed explosion. Real peace comes from truth, from boundaries, from love that's brave enough to say, I care about you too much to watch you destroy us both. That's the legacy I want to leave. Not money, not property. Just the truth that dignity matters, change is possible, and love, real love, sometimes has to be tough before it can be tender. See you in the next story. Until then, be brave, be kind, and be someone worth the love people give you.